Okay, same thing we did yesterday, but just spending more time on it since it's really new to you guys this year. Solving two-step equations. The reason why it's called two-step equations is because there are two operations in the equation that I have to undo in order to get the variable by itself, isolate the variable, if you will. So let's just jump right in. So if I look at number one, okay, the first things first is look at which side the variable's on, which on the letter, in this case, C. Notice what's happening to C. It has 7 being multiplied times it, and it's being added by -2, okay? Now, when it comes to solving equations, you got to take care of subtraction and addition first. Now, just because I see addition here doesn't mean I'm going to subtract 2, because the goal is to eliminate or cancel out the -2. I don't subtract 2 because then I'd end up with -4. So what we're going to do is the opposite of -2 is to make it +2 by adding 2, because -2 plus 2 is 0, which is what we want to do. And what I do to one side, I do to the other. So I'm going to add 2 to the other side. The 2's cancel over here. I'm going to bring down my 7C, sorry. And then I'm just going to add over here. 40 plus 2 is 42. Then I have multiplying by C. The opposite of multiplying by C is to divide by C. And it looks like a fraction, of course, because a fraction is just division. The 7 divided by 7 is 1, so I end up with 1C. And then 42 divided by 7 is 6, because a positive divided by positive is a positive. C equals +6. Let's do number 2. Right here. Okay, I have y by itself. Notice when a variable is by itself, there's technically an invisible 1 in front of it. So it's being multiplied by -1, and it has this +5 over here. Well, the first thing I need to do is take care of the +5. Now, just because I see subtraction doesn't mean I'm subtracting 5. Because if I try to add 5 here, which would be the opposite of subtracting, I wouldn't end up with 0. So since 5 is positive, we're going to subtract 5, because 5 minus 5 is 0. What I do to one side, I do to the other. So 18 minus 5 is 13. The 5's cancel, and I have -1y. The opposite of multiplying by -1 is to divide by -1. Remember, when I multiply or divide, I don't change the sign. So it's just dividing by -1. The -1's cancel or divide out to equal 1. A positive divided by negative is a negative, and 13 divided by -1 is -13. So y equals -13. Number 3. First things first, it's being multiplied by -6 and subtracting 7. I gotta take care of that subtraction first. The opposite of subtracting 7 is to add 7. Now be careful, I'm going to bring down my -6p, the 7's cancel out, 0 out. Now right here, okay, be careful because it's negative and a positive. When it's a negative and a positive, you actually subtract. So I have to do 31 minus 7 is 24. But since 31 is larger, it's -24 because 31 is negative. Since I'm multiplying by -6 here, I've got to divide, which is the opposite of multiplying. And then remember, when it comes to division, use that triangle. Negative divided by negative is a positive. 24 divided by 6 is +4. Number 4. All right, it's being multiplied by -5, and then I have this +12. Well, just because I see subtraction doesn't mean I'm subtracting 12. So I'm not going to add 12 in that case, because I want to cancel out or zero out the 12. I need to subtract 12. So 57 minus 12 is 45. Then I'm going to bring down that -5v, because this negative goes with the 5, not the 12. I'm going to bring down -5v. The opposite of multiplying by -5 is to divide by -5. So then the 5's as equal 1. Positive divided by negative is a negative. 45 divided by 5 is 9. So 40v equals -9. Number 5. All right. Here t is being divided by 4, and then it has a -6 over here. I need to zero out the -6 by adding 6 to both sides. And so I have -t over 4 equals, be careful over here, one's negative, one's positive, which means I'm actually going to subtract 6 minus 1, which is 5. And since 6 is larger, it's +5. Now this one's a little tricky. it's being divided by 4, but there's also this negative out in front. When that negative's out in front, it goes with the 4 as well. So I'm going to multiply by -4 to both sides. And so positive times a negative is a negative. 5 times 4 is 20. So t equals -20. Number 6, I see multiplying by 10 and subtracting 4. I need to zero out the -4, so I'm going to add 4 to both sides. 10x is going to come down. 126 plus 4 is 130. Then I'm going to divide by 10. And 130 divided by 10 is 13, because it's like taking off those zeros there when they each have a 0 in common. Positive divided by positive is a positive, so equals 13. And then it gets pretty repetitive there. Here I see +3 and being divided by 3. I need to zero out the +3 by subtracting 3. So I have x over 3 equals 9 minus 3, which is 6. The opposite of dividing by 3 is to multiply by 3. So 6 times 3 is 18. A positive times a positive is a positive, so positive 18. Then over here, dividing by 2 and see this positive 10. I'm going to subtract 10 to zero out the 10. What I do to one side, I do to the other. 15 minus 10 is 5. I'm going to bring down that x over 2. The opposite of dividing by 2 is to multiply by 2. And 2 times 5 is 10. The 2's divide out, so x equals positive 10. Over here, multiplied by 2 and see a positive 19. I'm going to subtract 19. And so the 19 zero out, bring down the 2x. Now, since they're both negative this time, that means I'm actually going to add them together. So 9 plus 3 is 12. Carry the 1 is 42. So negative and a negative make it also negative when I'm adding them. And so it's -42. The opposite of dividing or multiplying by 2 is dividing by 2. A negative divided by positive is a negative. 42 divided by 2 is 21. So x equals -21. Number 10, being divided by -5 and subtracting 9. The opposite of subtracting 9 is to add 9 to both sides. And so 2 plus 9 is 11. The opposite of dividing by -5 is to multiply by -5. So the -5's divide out. Positive times a negative is a negative. 11 times 5 is 55. So W equals -55. Here, being multiplied by -3 and subtracting 14. The opposite of subtracting 14 is to add 14. 25 plus 14 is 39. Then the opposite of multiplying by -3 is to divide by -3. The -3's divide out. Positive divided by negative is a negative, and 39 divided by 3 is 13. So x equals -13. Last one, multiplied by 9, adding 13. So I'm going to subtract 13 to start, because the opposite of adding 13 is to subtract. Since they're both negative over here, that actually means I'm going to add them together. So 13 plus 5 is 18. And since they're both negative, it's also -18. I'm going to divide by 9. And so negative divided by positive is a negative. 18 divided by 9 is 2. So x equals -2.